Last week, we talked to Rebecca Nadel from the Business Renewables Center about corporate purchase power agreements in Alberta and why they were taking off. And since then, her center has released the Renewables Deal Tracker. So now we know basically who is buying corporate PPAs and the size of them. So we're going to talk to Rebecca about that this morning. Welcome to the interview, Rebecca.
Thank you so much.
Look, maybe can you just give us an overview of the deal tracker, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you said, we have seen a flurry of renewables deals being announced recently. And so what our deal tracker is, it's the first time in Canada that we've released this compilation of corporate and institutional deals for renewable energy projects that are happening in Canada. So it's really a one-stop shop, a way to visualize both the number and the scale of these kinds of deals, these offtake agreements that are being publicly announced. And so we've tracked over the past couple of years what's happened, and certainly then this year the bunch of deals that we've just heard in the last couple of weeks. And so in order to be included here, you've got to have a project that's in Canada. It's got to create some new additionality, a new project, and be an offtake agreement or a deal between a distinct buyer and a project developer.
Now, this year, we've got 5 deals that are worth a total of 268 megawatts of generating capacity. 2019, the first real year that this started to take off, was 246 for the entire year. 2020 was a little quieter because of the pandemic at 126 megawatts. But I think the one that really got people's attention was last week was Amazon.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like you say, we've seen a couple of really big deals, and the Amazon one was a big name for sure. So that was the largest solar deal that we had seen in Canada. So, 80 megawatts. It's their first deal in Canada. Obviously, they are a buyer around the world, and so they're actually the largest corporate buyer of renewable energy globally now. But they're coming into Canada, I think, is quite significant. So it really speaks to the growth, the viability of the renewables market in Canada. There was also a Shell deal shortly before that, which is a wind deal at 100 megawatts. So that was the largest deal overall in Canada. So definitely seeing some big deals being announced in terms of volume.
Now, going forward, are you aware of any other corporate PPAs in the pipeline, as it were?
Well, so I do know there's plenty of deals in the pipeline. Until they're announced, we can't really talk about them, and they're not included on the tracker. But I have been assured by folks who are in the industry that there is certainly more to come. I think what was nice about the tracker is that it started to show the breadth of sectors that are being represented. So we've talked about energy companies, tech companies, but there was a couple of deals by the bakery company Bimbo Canada, one solar, one wind, to cover the load for their bakeries and distribution centers across Canada. We saw a brewer get into the mix. So Labatt Breweries had their solar deal announced to cover all of the electricity needed to brew Budweiser beer in Canada. So we're starting to see some real representation across sectors. So I think you'll start to see some of these leaders doing, continuing to do deals, other members within their sectors, hopefully becoming fast followers and announcing similar deals.
Just to give viewers a bit of a bigger context, the Alberta electricity generating capacity is over 16,000 megawatts. These represent about 650-ish megawatts. So we're looking at now these corporate PPAs being about 3 to 4% roughly of the total provincial generating capacity. That's actually a fair percentage, and I guess you're expecting it to go up significantly over the next year or two.
Yeah, so we hope to see more and more of these deals coming online, and obviously the balance of renewables versus traditional fossil fuels on the grid is going to change over time. So, Alberta has this target of 30% renewables by 2030. So we're not close to that just yet. We're probably more at about the 14% mark. So certainly transmission planning is starting to happen already to ensure that that grid is prepared to handle these new deals as they come on.
Now, at this point, Alberta is the only province that has corporate PPAs because of it's a market-based system, and it can incorporate new generation capacity in ways that other provinces can't. But Nova Scotia recently introduced some legislation so they can do similar kinds of deals. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, exactly. So Nova Scotia has what's called a green choice program. And so this is essentially a green tariff. It was spurred on by the federal government. So last year, it was actually the Nova Scotia legislature established this program. And what it is, it's a way to enable large customers, large energy buyers to buy renewable energy from new projects in the province, but do it through the utility. So rather than a developer and a buyer getting into say, a virtual power purchase agreement directly, the utility is sort of the middleman in this case. And so this certainly enables more private sector investment in Nova Scotia because those developers will still be constructing these projects. And hopefully it will attract some new buyers into the space, not just the existing buyers who want to have operations that are more green, but really incentivizing folks to come into places where they can meet their environmental, social, and governance commitments. So Nova Scotia is in the process of putting that program in place. I think it's going to be a great example that will be watched by other provinces. Hopefully we'll see some replication in other jurisdictions as well. But yeah, as you said, at the moment, Alberta's system is open by default already, which is why it's the leader in hosting these kinds of projects that the tracker has been showing.
Great. Rebecca, thank you. Always appreciate your insights.
Take care.